Okay. After that, you can share me. I'll post in few groups and students group.
Sir, from today onwards, I will give 1 day before, sir.
Hello.
Sir, I shared the YouTube link, sir.
Okay.
You can start 4 o'clock, sir. You can start.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you, because others will slowly join. We'll start the meeting. Dr. M. Soundararajan, Professor of Civil Engineering, Sona College of Engineering and Technology. So he is going to address all of us the contract laws and regulations. This is one of the topic we have finalized in a master's training program on construction management and engineering economics. Because what are the various contract laws and how? I'm audible, sir? Hello?
Sir, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So this is a part of the master's training, trainers training program. We have finalized the topic and Soundararajan sir is ready to accepted to address on this topic. He is specialized in the master's technology in construction management and technology. And very happy, and I'm happy to welcome for today's seminar. It's an online seminar as scheduled, 13 days. Already 13 days offline we completed with many expert lectures. We all know that. Just for the information of the speaker, it is a 52 days program, sir. The first 13 offline is completed, and this is the 8th lecture is an online is going on. Next 13 days we are going to conduct again offline. Then last phase is there is online. In that there are 4 to 5 technical visits also we have finalized, and just to impart some upskilling program, or you can say reskilling program for the Nirmiti Kendra engineers. All the engineers are working with the district collector level, and they are all involving construction activities, various types of projects. And just to give some of the high-end technologies available to make use of construction management successfully, techniques. In that, one of this is a kind of contract laws and regulations, because we all know that many projects, if the contract laws, regulations not binding between the contractor and the builder, we may end up with a lot of legal issues. Therefore, we must be very careful, and we should know what are the various court of laws, binding laws between the client and the builder. You must aware of as a construction engineers. And also, I welcome all the participants for this online seminar. And also, thank you very much for joining. And also welcome the online coordinator, Mr. Sanat Kumar. Our director, sir, is going to join shortly. He is in a meeting. He is just called and updated. You please start the meeting. I welcome all the participants and other student and my faculty members for joining this seminar. Before going to this seminar, just a brief introduction about the guest of the honor today, Professor Soundararajan. Brief introduction about him. See, almost he's having a 13 years of experience, research consultancy, and given a lot of lectures as a guest lectures. He completed 13 years of experience, and he is having a PhD degree from Anna University in the area of high performance concrete. And also he is having a master's degree in the construction technology and engineering and management, construction engineering and management. He is specialized in that expert, and he is taking a lot of classes in these areas. And also he is having expert skills with respect to the software skills, because you all know that as a part of upskilling program, we are organizing at Nagarjuna College of Engineering Technology the few courses on Primera, MS Project, and AutoCAD that will be scheduled. It is a part of our upskilling program. Today's speaker is having a lot of skills in those areas. And also the professor is a life membership of Institute of Engineers India, and also is a lifetime member of International Society for Research and Development. He has published many conferences, reputed journals, and many number of papers in the reputed journals and international conferences. And also he has published a lot of papers in the conference also. He has co-authored with book chapters, seismic retrofitting and introduction to design and urban ports. And also a lot of online classes conducted, and also he is having a NPTEL courses. And also on this occasion, I request all the engineering participants, there is a NPTEL is developed by IIT people, the first launched by IIT Madras. See, there are a lot of, I will share later in the group. You just take this online coaching classes to equip yourself, to update your knowledge and professional skills, just getting a good person. There is conduct a lot of courses online. Finally, there is assessment. Only 1,000 rupees, I think they may ask for certification. And also, professor has conducted a lot of webinars and participated also. And I'm very happy and honored to welcome Professor Soundararajan. And please take over the session. And also, I request all the participants to, if any queries are there, just to post in chat box, or you can interact at the end of his lecture. Professor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
thank you, Venkatesh, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sanat Kumar, sir. I welcome you all for today webinar. So today we are going to see the topic about construction laws and regulation. So let us start with an introduction. So Indian Contract Act, it was introduced in 1872. It has 10 chapters with 238 sections. So in all over India, we have to follow the Indian Contract Act. So it will extend to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. So came into effect on 1st September of 1872. So this is the basic introduction. So again, it consists of three main divisions, specific kinds of contract with the three main division. So contract of indemnity and guarantee. So indemnity, it is nothing but recompensation for loss. So it is the first main section. It consists of section 124 to 147. Again, contract of bailment and pledge. It consists of section 148 to 181. Again, constant contract of agency. It is the section between 182 to 238. So the first 1 to 75 deals with the general principles of law, general contract laws. So today we will see the important key notes, key points in the contract, and what are all the contract document comprises. These things today we will see in the webinar classes. So what is contract? So can an agreement be a contract? So to become a contract, agreement must be enforceable by law. So let us see the example in this. So Mr. A enters into an agreement with Mr. B, agree to kill Mr. C for 25 lakh rupee. So this is an example agreement, but this agreement cannot be a contract. It must not enforce by law. So this is a agreement. So in a contract, we have to consider the main two important element. It must be a agreement and legal obligation. It should fulfill the legal obligation. So let us see another example for contract. So husband promises to wife to buy her a saree if she sings a song. So wife sang, but husband did not buy her saree. So is this contract? Means this also not comes under the contract. So there is an agreement. The intention to create legal obligation is missing. So it will not comes under the contract. So in section, as per section 2H, an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So it must create a legal obligation. So before we have to go to the contract, we have to see the what is mean by agreement and what is mean by promise. These things we have to know before entering detail into the contract. So agreement is a promise. Generally speaking, agreement is a promise. It comes under section 2E. So every promise and every set of promises as well as forming consideration for each other is an agreement. So this is the basic definition for agreement. So what is a promise means? So combination of proposal and acceptance is the promise. So it comes under section 2B in Indian Contract Act. It comes under section 2B. When the person to whom proposal is made, so signifies his assent thereto. So assent, it is nothing but expression of approval. If two parties comes together to form a agreement or to form a contract, so both the party have to assent. So the proposal is said to be accepted. So the proposal, when accepted, becomes promise. So this is the basic definition of promise under Indian Contract Act, section 2B. So when one party makes proposal or offer to another party and the other party give its acceptance, it means the agreement comes into existence. So this is the three things. So agreement is more or less equal to promise. So it combination of offer plus acceptance. While considering contract, so it is equal to offer plus acceptance plus essential element. So that essential element, it is nothing but enforceable by law. It must follow the law. It means it is equal to contract. So let us see the characteristics of an agreement. So at least it consists of minimum two parties. So second characteristics consensus and item. So it is nothing but a general agreement in technical term, a general agreement, it is denoted as consensus. So agreeing on the same thing in the same sense at the same time. So it is meant by consensus. So there is an example for the basic agreement. So Mr. A agrees to sell 100 liters of oil for 10,000 rupees to Mr. B. However, Mr. A thought it's vegetable oil and Mr. B thought it's a hair oil. So there is no agreement. We have to clearly mention each and every terms and condition in the agreement. That agreement must follow the law, means it becomes a contract. So all contracts are agreement in general, but all agreement are not contract. So all contracts are enforceable by law. It must follow the law properly, but all agreements are not contract. So only the agreement enforceable by law is known as contract. So agreement of moral, religious or social nature are not contract. So because they are lack attention to create the legal obligation. So let us see the essential elements of valid contract. So there are 10 essential elements of valid contract under section 10, 29 and 56. So these sections are in the Indian Contract Act 1872. Let us see the 10 essential elements one by one. So first, offer and acceptance. So the offer must be lawful offer as well as acceptance must be lawful acceptance. Second one, intention to create legal relationship. So agreement of social or domestic nature do not contemplate to create legal relationship. So in commercial agreement, an intention to create legal relations is pursued. So this is the second important and essential element. Third one, lawful consideration. So agreement is valid when each party to it gives something and get something. This is the definition for lawful consideration. Fourth one, capacity of parties. So parties must be competent to age of majority, must be of sound mind and must not be disqualified by the law of contract. So both the party must fulfill these essential things while signing before the contract. So free consent. So consent means parties agree on same thing in same sense. So it must not induced by coercion. So it is nothing but use of forces, or you will not compel anyone to sign in the contract. So it is the coercion. So undue influence. So undue influence, it is nothing but improper, unclear. So these things comes under the undue influence. Third one, fraud, and the fourth one, misrepresentation, and the fifth one, mistake. So these things are comes under section 14th of Indian Contract Act. So sixth element is lawful object. So the object must not be fraudulent, illegal, immoral, opposed to public policy, imply injury to person or property of another. So these things are comes under section 23 of Indian Contract Act. So seventh element is writing and registration. So in some special case, agreement need to be writing or registered to be valid. So this is the example for writing and registration. Arbitration agreement must be in the writing. Agreement for sale of immovable property must be in writing and registered. So these things to be followed in the contract. Certainty. So agreement must not be uncertain or vague. So vague means unclear. So Mr. A agreed to sell certain of oil to Mr. B. It is not clear what quantity and what kind of oil is being sold. So agreement is void for want of certainty. So these things cannot be clearly mentioned in the agreement or contract. So it is a void contract. So let us see in detail in upcoming slides about the void contract. So next, possibility of performance. An agreement to do an act impossible in itself is a void. So if in a contract document, so in some cases impossible things will be entered or registered, means that agreement tends into void agreement or void contract. So this is the example for void one. Mr. A agreed to Mr. B to make his death father alive. So this agreement is not enforceable. It automatically come in under the void agreement. So invalid. Void, it is nothing but invalid. So the last, not expressly declared void. Agreement must not be expressed or declared void under the act. So for following agreement are expressly void under the act: agreement in restraint of marriage, agreement in restraint of trade, so agreement by of wager. So these things are the declared as void. So wager, it is nothing but gambling or betting. At the time, if the parties signed for wager, means it will not, it will comes under the void contract. So kinds of contract from enforceability point of view. So there are three types of contract available: valid contract, voidable contract, and void contract. Let us see about one by one. So valid contract is an agreement enforceable by law. Voidable contract, void plus able, voidable. So voidable contract is a valid contract until it is rescinded or avoided by the party entitled to do so. So voidable, it is the meaning unpredictable or unsettled. So if in the agreement unpredictable terms are entered in agreement, means it automatically comes under voidable contract. So these things, if the coercion, undue influence, fraud, or misrepresentation entered into the contract document, means so it automatically becomes as a voidable contract. So other circumstances, preventing other party to perform his promise. Let us see the example for it. Mr. X agreed to paint Mr. Y house for rupees 50,000, and Mr. Y agreed to provide the paint to Mr. X. Mr. Y did not provide paint to Mr. X, as a result of which Mr. A could not paint the house. Mr. Y did not act as entered in the agreement. So that agreement or contract automatically comes under the voidable contract. Second case, where performance is time specific, but a party fails to perform within the specified time. It also comes under voidable contract. Next, void contract. So void means not binding in the law. It is an agreement which is not legally binding. So such contract naturally, as for there has been no contract. So this is the void contract. So these things are explained in section 2J in Indian Contract Act. So a contract which ceases to be enforceable by law become void when it ceases to be enforceable. So this is the important points. So void contract is not void from its inception. So it is valid and binding when originally entered, but becomes invalid subsequent to its formation due to some reason. So these are some of the reasons. Supervening impossibility. So supervening, it is nothing but it will not follow the law. It will not follow the rules and regulations, contract regulations. Subsequent illegality, repudiation of voidable contract. So it will decline or refuse the voidable contract. So contract contingent upon happening of an uncertain future event, if the event becomes impossible. So these are all the reasons for void contract. So void agreement. So agreement not enforceable by law is said to be void. Such agreement is void from the very beginning, never had a status of contract. So it from starting to ending, that agreement comes in the void agreement status. It will not enter into the contract terms and regulations. So unenforceable contract. So such contract are valid in itself, so but are not capable of being enforced in court of law. So this is the unenforceable contract. So illegal and unlawful contract. So these are contrary to the law. Illegal contracts are void. These should rather be called illegal agreement. So in which terms the contract comes under illegal contract means, so forbidden by law. These things, these objects are a consideration forbidden by law. If permitted, would defeat the provision of law. Fraudulent implies injury to another person or property, immoral or opposed to public policy. So if the contract enters into this forbidden by law means, it automatically tends to the unlawful contract. So view of mode of creation. Let us see the contract in the mode of creation: express contract, implied contract, and quasi contract. So express contract, it is nothing but offer and acceptance are made in words spoken or written. Before entering into the contract, both the party have to spoke the terms and condition or in the written form. This is known as express contract. Implied contract. So offer and acceptance are made other than the words by act and conduct of parties. So this is known as implied contract. Quasi contract. So such contract does not arise by virtue. So it is nothing but virtue is nothing but morality, dignity. It will follow the dignity of any agreement. So law enforce or recognize a contract under special circumstances. Is known as quasi contract. Then another two executed and executory contracts are available. So when both the party have performed their shared obligation and nothing more remains to be done, if that as per the contract all these things are done, means it is known as executed contract. Executory contract, where both parties still need to perform their share of obligation, or there is something remain to be done under the contract, is known as executory contract. So let us see the rules of the valid contract. So offer may be express or implied. Mr. A said to Mr. B that he is willing to sell his watch for 1,000 rupees. This is an express offer. So this is an express offer. Example for express contract. So next example of implied contract. So the state transport corporation runs buses at different route to carry passenger at a scheduled fare. So this is an implied offer by the transport corporation. So this is the for example for express as well as implied. So next, offer must be capable of creating legal regulation. The party must be follow all regulation and the rules as per the Indian Contract Act. So social or domestic agreement do not create legal relations. So in business agreement, intention to create legal relation is pursued. So while creating the valid contract or a valid offer, so offer it is nothing but the owner or head of the project, he must offer a tender or he must offer the work to the contractor. The contractor must accept the offer, means it comes under the valid contract offer. So terms of offer must be certain. So terms of offer must not be loose or vague. So it must not be unclear. It must be clear and it must be certainly defined. So let us see the example. Mr. A offer Mr. B lavish entertainment. So if Mr. B does a particular work for him, so this is the certainty. So next point, an invitation to offer is not an offer. So it is only an invitation to the other party to make an offer. So the object is to circulate information to invite other. We have to circulate in the owner side have to circulate the invitation to other to make offer based on information disclosed. So let us see the example: auction, price tag, tender. These are all the example for invitation to offer. So offer may be specific or general. So specific offer made to a specific person. General offer made to public at large. So let us see the rules relating to lapse of offer. So offer, it is nothing but in owner point of view, he will call for tender or call for contract to complete the work. He offer the work. The contractor must accept the offer to complete the work. So let us see the rules to lapse of offer. So offer lapse after stipulated time or reasonable time. So in the agreement or contract document, when time is prescribed, offer lapses after the prescribed time. So within the stipulated time, the opposite party or contractor must accept the offer. Otherwise, the offer may be lapsed. So when no time is prescribed, offer lapses after a reasonable time. So second, offer lapses if not accepted in mode prescribed or in a reasonable manner. So in a document itself, the owner side have specified mode of prescribed acceptance. So when it is not fulfilled or by the offerer or means it automatically lapses. So offer lapses if not accepted in the prescribed mode provided. In this case, a notice is given to the offeree by the offerer. After that notice given, it goes to the lapse. So when mode is not prescribed, offer lapses if not accepted in reasonable manner. These things also will happen. So offer lapses by rejection. So in this case, rejection may be express or implied. So express rejection by words spoken or written. So implied rejection, counter offer or conditional offer. So this is the express as well as implied rejection. So offer lapses by death and insanity of offerer or offeree. So if offerer dies or becomes insane, that offer automatically comes under lapse condition before acceptance of the offer. So provided the fact of his death or insanity comes to the knowledge of acceptor before acceptance. So offer lapses by revocation. So revocation, it is nothing but cancellation. So offer can be revoked before its acceptance. Revocation must be communicated to the offeree. So that cancellation must be communicated to the offeree. So revocation of a general offer must be made through the same channel through which it was made initially. First, in what channel the offer is invited, through that channel itself, the cancellation or revocation must be made to the opposite party. So revocation by non-fulfillment of condition precedence to acceptance. So precedence, it is nothing but a model or example or pattern. So Mr. A agreed to sell his house to Mr. B. If Mr. B finds him a new house within a week. So Mr. B fails to do so means, so the offer stands revoked, automatically cancelled. So offer lapses by subsequent illegality and destruction of subject matter. So an offer lapse if it becomes illegal after it is made. After the contract agreement document, if it becomes too illegal, means it automatically lapses. So the subject matter of the offer is destroyed. That if the terms and condition existed by the opposite party, means it automatically comes to the lapses. So let us see the rules relating to valid acceptance of the contract. So acceptance must be given by the person to whom offer is made. So acceptance must be given by the person to whom offer is made. Offer made to a person can be accepted by him alone. To whom the contract offer is made, that person only accept the offer. So offer made to a class of persons, say lawyer, a group of persons, in that case can be accepted by any member of that class. So the first case is the individual one, individual person. The second point deals with the group of person, a crew. For example, a engineer's crew or a lawyer's crew. In that crew can be accepted by any member of that class. So offer made to public at large can be accepted by anyone having a knowledge of such happen. So this is the third case. In this public, offer made to the public means with that knowledge, can anyone accepted having a knowledge of such offer. So acceptance must be absolute, it must be complete, perfect and decided before acceptance. So there should be no deviation from the terms of the offer. After the acceptance, both the party as well as owner side as well as contractor side must follow the terms and the conditions of the contract. So deviated acceptance is treated as a counter offer in law. It noted as counter offer and it tends into the lapse. So acceptance must be expressed in some usual and reasonable manner unless proposal prescribes the manner in which offer should be accepted. If no mode of acceptance is prescribed, so offer must be accepted in some usual and reasonable manner. So if mode of acceptance is prescribed, offer must be accepted as prescribed. This is the two cases for the valid acceptance of the contract. So in which offer it is nothing but work offer by the owner. So fourth one, acceptance must be communicated by the acceptor or a person authorized by the acceptor. It comes under the valid acceptance. So acceptance not valid if not communicated to the offerer by the acceptor. The acceptance must properly communicated to the owner or the offerer of the work. Then only it comes under valid acceptance. So the acceptor may authorize someone to communicate the acceptance on his behalf. This must be comes under valid acceptance. So acceptance must be given within a reasonable time and before offer lapses and are revoked. So the acceptor who accept the offer must be communicate within the stipulated time. So acceptance cannot be held up indefinitely. Within the time limit, the acceptor must communicate to the offerer. So acceptance must be given within a reasonable time. So what constitutes reasonable time will depend upon market customs and practices. These things comes under proper practice. So offer cannot be accepted if it is cancelled, revoked before the acceptance. So acceptance must succeed the offer. So there should be an offer first before it is accepted. So rejected offer can be accepted only if renewed. So in some cases, the offerer or owner can renew the offer. Then only the rejected offer can be accepted. An offer once rejected cannot be accepted again. So fresh offer must be made and accepted. This is the meaning of renewed one. So these are all the basic things. Acceptance of an offer must be given by the person to whom it is made. So acceptance must be absolute and unqualified. Acceptance must be expressed in some useful and reasonable manner unless the proposal prescribes the manner in which it is accepted. So acceptance must be communicated by the acceptor. So acceptance must be given with a reasonable time and before offer lapses and are revoked. So acceptance must succeed the offer. So rejected offer can be accepted only if renewed. So this is a fast recollection of the rules relating with valid offer or valid acceptance. So these things are the basic things before we entering into the contract. Participants having any doubt can type in chat box.
Yeah, just will give for a few minutes for interaction.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now I request the participants to interact. See, you are all experienced. You are already working as engineers. You know what are the problems you are facing. Any issues, other, please discuss. Otherwise, you can post in the chat box. We'll take up at the end. Professor, you can continue with whether they will interact at the end, I think.
Okay, sir. Okay. So,
Another half an hour you can continue. Then 5:30 we start interaction.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let us see about the types of contract. So contract at a fixed price. This is the first type. So second one, contract other than fixed price. In this, there are three types available: bill of quantities contract, schedule of rate contract, lump sum contract. So as all of you know, bill of quantities contract as well as schedule of rate contract. So the next one, cost plus percentage contract, and the cost plus fixed fee contract, construction by direct labor. These are all the basic things or types of contracts. So next, contract documents. So it contract document comprises a number of document, so which are contract drawings. So contract drawings, it is nothing but plan of the building or elevation sections with approved sign. So contract drawings, specification of the building. So it consists of reinforcement details and mix ratio of the concrete, likewise all these specifications must be attached with the contract document. So bill of quantities. Next, bill of quantity. So general conditions of contract. What are all the rules and regulations must be followed by the contractor as well as client. These things have to be attached in the contract document and tender with legal agreement. Final one, legal agreement. These things have to be attached in the contract document. So contract matter in instruction to the tenderers. These things have to be followed. Instructions. So tender bond and schedules of completion. Tender bond and schedule of completion. So general conditions of contract, specification. So bill of quantity. So bill, schedule and contract drawings. So these are all the comprises of contract document. Participants can ask or type any question in chat box. Sir,
Please go ahead, Professor.
sir, or 2 minutes, sir. Break. 2 minutes.
Yeah, you
We
can
will
take a
continue.
break. We will interact.
Yes,
No
2
issue.
minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, I will take it. Sanat Kumar,
Sir?
live streaming also going on, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, just a 2 minute water break, sir.
No issue. No issue.
Sir, director
Yeah.
sir is there.
Hello.
Director sir is joined, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, Soundararajan, please continue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no issue. We will interact at the end.
Need some break for 2 minutes. So any participant can share anything, so they can share, sir. Regarding contract management. Sir, can I share my experience with this?
Hello.
Can I share my experience?
Yeah, please go ahead, Sanat. Please go ahead.
Sir, actually, one of my relative, he have a site in Shimoga. Okay, that person, he is owning a house which is little bit constructed in 1990s. So nearby site was actually it is newly purchased, and they started constructing the house. That person, when he is constructing a house, he encroached, and the wall of this particular old building was taken up, and they started constructing the house. This person, this owner of the old house, he was waited till he go for first floor, and after that he simply went and put a petition in the district administration. He only asked this particular point: I need air and sunlight, so please provide us. This was the case. So that means if you are not following the construction law, it will lead to the what is that fighting between the people and all. This is a small glimpse of attachment. As per the rules, there will be a 3 meter. There should be a gap between the two houses. It is not followed. Case is going on like that. There are many things we have to keep it in mind when we are constructing the houses. Okay, thank you, sir. You can carry on, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for the break. Let us continue with the tender. It is here one important point. All must be known in the contract subject. So, what is meant by tender? So, tender is an offer which incorporates the sum of money, time, and other conditions required to carry out the contract obligation in order to complete a project or a part of it consisting of specified works. So it is the definition for tender. So basically the tender comprises of these things: time, money, and other conditions required by the client or owner. So what is tendering? So it has some stages of the project. Stage 1 consists of inception and feasibility. So identifying project objectives, set up project brief. So inception and feasibility. Stage 2 consists of design. So develop further project brief, develop concept and schematic design, or undertake detailed design and detailing, precast cost plan and budget. These things are comes under the stage 2 of design stage. Stage 3 tendering. So issue tender documents, prepare and submit tender, evaluation of tender, award tenders, prepare contract documents. So these things are comes under tendering. Fourth stage construction, and the fifth one handover and maintenance. So stage 4 site possession and mobilization, undertake procurement, fabrication, installation, construction, carry out, contract, admin. So these are all comes under the construction stage. So finally handover and maintenance. After all the construction part is over, so hand over the project to the owner, carry out necessary maintenance. So these are all comes under the handovering stage. So tendering, simply speaking, we will started after the design stage. After completing the design, or at the starting stage of the design complete, project budget must be approved. In this stage we have to make the tendering. So the process that is used to obtain offers leading to the contract between client and contractor. So must be a consultant or subcontractor. So the both have to be joined in the tendering stage. So purpose of tendering process. It is the main process in the contract laws. We must do the tendering process to select a suitable contractor at a time appropriate to the situation of the project. So there are n number of contractors available for that project who is suitable and who is appropriate, time appropriate, have to select. So to obtain from the contractor selected at a proper time an acceptable tender or offer upon which a contract can be let. So this is the main difference between contract and tender. So tender formally means an invitation to trade under the terms of offer. So a contract is the term used for when the parties have reached agreement. So after finalizing the tender, both the party, the client side as well as contractor side, have signed the agreement. It comes to the contract. So let us see the general tendering process. These are all the principal activity. First one, selection of most preferable or appropriate contract procurement method. We have to select the contract procurement method. In the there are n types of contracts available. No, from that contract we have to select the suitable contract for the project. Development of tender list. Third one, preparation of tender documentation. Fourth one, invitation or calling of tender. Fifth one, preparation and submission of tenders. Sixth, receipt and opening of tenders, evaluation of tender, and eighth, acceptance of tender, award or award of contract. So we have to preparation and submission of tenders. We have to opening of tender. The owner of the project or client side will open the tenders, evaluation of tender and acceptance of tender. These are all the tender processes. So stage one, it consists of selection of most preferable or appropriate contract procurement method. So traditional contract procurement route, it will take longer time, lead to critical work scheduling. So it consists of less error, more precise. So this is the traditional contract procurement route. So nowadays there are a fast track contract are available. So it consists of shorter time, consequences, so maybe lead to critical error and variations. So stage two, development of tender list. Potential tenderers can directly apply to employer for future works. So the employer generate list based on previous dealings. So the professional team generate their own list and recommend to the employer. This is the development of tender list. So stage 3, preparation of tender documentation, typical content. So these things have to be followed for the preparation of tender documentation. Mainly, so letter of invitation is the first one. Checklist for submission of tender. Then articles of agreement. So it consists of what are all the main criteria to follow. These things are in the articles of agreement as well as conditions of contract, rules and regulations. What are all the rules to be followed by the contractor? These things are in the condition of contract. Form of tender. So tender specification, bill of quantities, tender drawings, sample copy of letter of acceptance. So sample copy of bank guarantee for performance bond. So schedule of day work rate. So sample bank guarantee for advance payment. So this is the tender process. Stage 1 consists of preparation. Stage 2 approval to tender. Third stage documentation. Fourth one stage invitation, tender invitation. Fifth one processing. And sixth one award contract. So preparation. So in this stage consists of final completion of drawings, specification, measurement, takeoff process, choose condition of contract, which type of contract have to select for the project. These things have to finalize in the stage of preparation. So parties involved: architect, engineers, QS, client, project manager. So QS, it is nothing but quantity surveyor. So stage 2, approval of tender. So discussion and decision on type of tender to be used. So selection of tender. So in this we have to select, we have to shortlist the selected contractor. So in this parties involved are client, consultant and project manager. This stage is known as approval of tender. So stage 3, documentation. So contract based on quantity. So completion of these things, letter of invitation, conditions of contract, form of tender. So these are all the things we have to attach while prepare for the tender documentation. So form of tender, tender details. So contractor registration details, letter of acceptance. So bank and insurance guarantee, performance bonds. So advance payment from the bank or insurance specifications, summary of tender, and schedule of rate, relevant drawings. So these specific items all must be enclosed with the tender document. So the left side column denotes the contract based on the quantity. So the right side column based on the tender and specifications. So stage 4, invitation of the tender. So based on selection of tendering method, it may be open tender or a competitive tender, bid tender, produce tender notice. So selective shortlisted contractors will be invited to tender if they wish. So negotiated if only one contractor is approached, direct entry to the project. So these are all the methods, the tendering method. So tender notice or notice inviting tender. So tender notice is a brief description of the job being tendered, which is to be published in newspaper, television, and on internet. So the internet is very cost-effective way of publishing of the tender. So nowadays, the newspaper as well as television, also they will publish the tender notice. So this is the format of an ideal tender notice. So the tender notice must be consist of these things properly: name of the project, name and address of the company floating the tender, so name of work, materials or services, approximate estimated cost of work, earnest money deposit. So it is the one important thing, earnest money. Before starting of the work, what is the EMD money? The contractor must be deposit some amount of money to the owner account. So period of completion. So date on which tender document sale commences. So date on which a tender document sale commences from the date and time to which tender document can be obtained, as well as cost of the tender document, the date and the time up to which the tender to be submitted and are to be opened. These things have to be included in the ideal tender notice specification as well as eligibility criteria. So stage 5, processing. So received tender submitted by the contractor. So tender assessment or evaluation to be done. So the following things have to be evaluated. So completed tenders are received. So arithmetical check, reasonable tender sum and reasonable completion time. Capability of tenderers under conditions. These things we see in the previous slides. So capability of parties. So final tender recommendation or report tender board. It will be released by the tender board. So it consists of owner, engineer, project manager, etc. So let us see some of the guidelines to fulfill the tender system. So the capacity of the tenderer or contractor, past credentials, and the financial status of the tenderer is thoroughly investigated before awarding the contract. This is the most important point we must be checked before award the contract. So this aspect should be commented in detail along with the tender document. So the rate should be quoted in the number and word without any corrections to take advantage of any possible increase in statutory taxes and duties. So the tax component such as excise tax, sales, work contract tax should be clearly indicated. These things must be clearly indicated in the contract document. So tenderer should not quote many specific conditions as some of them may have financial implication. This can be added to your quoted cost. So this financial implication may be added in the quoted cost. So also create confusion. So creates room for manipulating forces. So the rate quoted for individual items should be realistic and should not be abnormal and unworkable. So the stage 6 consists of award contract. So this is the offer by the owner side. So pre-award meeting with the contractor, validation of lowest complying bid. So validate the lowest bid, pre-contract meeting with the contractor for contract signing. Approval by tender board. So our treasury and acceptance of tender form is issued to tenderer, signed by the authorized officer. So tender process for contractor. So this is the tendering process, these things. So decision to tender, determine basis of tender, preparation of cost estimates, commercial appreciation, conversion of estimate to tender, submission of tender. So this is the tendering process. So decision to tender. So receipt of tender document, pre-tender data sheet, decision to tender. So considering implications of it consists of bond, warranties, parent company guarantees and funding. So these are all the stage 1 decision to tender. Stage 2 determine basis of tender. So abstract materials and subcont. So send out inquiry. So on what basis the tender call for is going on. So considering the construction methods and prepare the method statement. So design of participants, can any doubt can you ask me?
Sir, you have any models of the tenders formatting? Do you have any case studies? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You have any case studies or any formats just to see the formattings? Do you have anything at the end you can show?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I will show, sir.
Arpita madam is having some doubt. Madam, you can ask, madam.
Arpita, please introduce.
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, myself, Arpita. I'm an assistant engineer at PWD Karnataka.
Okay, ma'am.
Sir, all these documents which were you mentioned, tender document, contract, agreement, everything, it's very nice, detailedly explained. But
Yes.
is there any code book or reference book we can refer so we can tell the students though they can get career out of it? Any reference book can you suggest, sir?
Ma'am, we have to follow the Indian Contract Act, ma'am. Indian Contract Act 1872.
No, madam is asking any soft copy that can be shared. You want that copy, madam?
Yes, sir. So we can tell the students because contract management is a good career for the students.
Yeah.
A lot of MNC company are preferring a contract engineer, but a lot of civil engineers are not introduced to this kind of thing. Only a textbook in estimation and costing. They have few detail. That's it. They don't know anything exactly. What is the contract? Where can they pick up the law? The which code book they have to refer? Like that. So it's very useful. So I can suggest some students they can make a career out of this. Refer these books. I can suggest them. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any
The
books,
main all the main things are taken from the Contract Act only, ma'am. We have
1972.
yes 1872, ma'am. 1872.
Okay.
Some of the books are available.
Hmm.
I will show at the end of. I will tell you, ma'am, what is the book we have to follow.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Any other query?
No, only the tenders, they want to see the formats, how the format will look present, who will float the tender, how the advertisement will come, ad will come on paper, no? Tender.
Yes.
Tender is floated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are the similar format is there? If it is there, please show something.
Sir, that things I shown in the previous slide, sir.
Okay.
The wait a minute, sir.
Go ahead. We'll discuss at the end.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So this is the tendering process, and so these things, these are all the documents we have to attach in the tendering. So these things have to attach. Can you able to see their documentation slide, sir? So this is the based on quantity and contract based on tender specification, tender and the specification. Okay. Any other question?
So we'll take at the end. Another 15 minutes you can take.
Okay, sir.
Then we'll have question and discussion.
So stage 5 consists of processing. So received tender submitted by the contractor must be evaluated by tender team, and the recommendations and report may be released by the tender board. So this is the guidelines to be followed for the tender system. So the capacity and past credentials, these things have to be thoroughly checked by the tendering team. So rate should be quoted. These things I told you already. So the tax components such as excess duty, sales tax, works tax should be clearly indicated. So same ways, the rate quoted for individual item should be realistic and should not be abnormal and unworkable. So award of contract. So pre-award meeting with the contractors, validation of lowest complying bid. So validate lowest bid, pre-contract meeting with the contractor for contract signing. So these things have to be done. So approval by tender board or treasury, and acceptance of tender form is issued to the tenderer, signed by the authorized officer. The officer may be arbitrator or client side. So tender process for contractor. So this is the process. It consists of 6 stages. Stage 1. So decision to tender. Stage 2, determine basis of tender. So stage 3 consists of preparation of cost estimate. Submission of tender is the last stage. So the stage 1, decision to tender. So receipt of tender document, pre-tender data sheet. So decision to tender, and consider implications such as bond, warranty, parent company, guarantees. These things have to be find out, and funding source. So stage 2, it consists of abstract materials and subcons. So send out inquiry, consider construction methods as well as preparation method. So design temporary works, preparation outline, check major quantity, identify restrictions, visit site and compile site report. So these things have to be followed in the stage 2. So stage 3, calculate recurrent rates. So operational, unit rate, man hours estimation, these things are to be estimated. Analyze and check subcontracts, contractor quotations, price prelims, general item with the members of the team. So prepare summary sheets. So these are all comes under the stage 3. So before offering the tender, it is the tender committee meeting. It consists of review methods, programs, technical and commercial risk, cash flow and finance. So use of own plant, competition, so commercial opportunity, economic climate, check prelims against the historical cost data. So in this committee meeting, so calculate the estimation as these things have to be done. So submission of tender, we have to, the tenderer must be submit the tender document in the required format. So organize, deliver. So these are all the tendering process and awarding of tender. So participants can ask me if any doubt, can ask me.
Thank you, Professor Soundararajan, because thank you very much for sharing what are the various contracts, types of contract, and what are the guidelines to be followed, what is the tender documentation, and what are the content, how to, because without the knowledge of tenders, because now all the civil engineers can become an entrepreneur. So actually, I always tell my students when I was in teaching profession for 30 years, only 5 years let work in a company, then you have to establish your own company, because civil engineers can become an entrepreneur, and only 5 years is enough to get the knowledge of construction industry, to do some business locally, even sometimes even above average also. Only want to take projects internationally. For that, you need a lot of strength with respect to finance, with respect to mechanization, with respect to turnover. See, all these things plays important role. See, as a beginners, there are many students are there. I saw almost 35 plus, and many budding engineers, young engineers, and few experienced engineers. See, it is an opportunity to learn and establish yourself, and you have to put your own goal setting. See, goal setting is very, very important. Within another 5 years, what I should be, where I should be, what business I should venture. Lot of opportunities are there. Very, but you must aware of that. Construction industry is booming. Government of India is spending a lot of money, and also a lot of infrastructural developments are going on. If you take a road sector, even the bridge sector, construction sector, even Bangalore is the fastest growing city in Asia. A lot of opportunities are there. So you must equip properly the skill set required. That is one of the purpose of organizing this type of online programs. And we are allowed, all the many engineers are there, students are there. See, because the industry expects something, the recent engineering graduates coming out, their lack of skills. There is a difference between graduate engineers and professional engineers. The professional engineers means you have to come to the industry with the minimum. They are not expecting more skills. The minimum skill set required. The madam rightly mentioned with respect to the contract documents. What are the type of contractor? What are the types of metals available in the market? What are the technologies available? And what are the types of construction is going on? See, the civil engineers can see and visualize it. The imagination is important. Civil engineering, you can feel what is going on in and around of you. Is it not? It is not like computer science engineering, everything in computer only. Or easy student, they are doing their chip design, will be very small integrated chip like that. Civil engineers can feel the pulse, what is going on. You must have more interest to learn yourself. Otherwise, it is very, very tough to survive in the industry also. You have to keep learning many things. And I'll thank our Professor Soundararajan for taking his own, taking valuable time and sharing all these things. As requested by our participants, please share to us, sir. We'll forward all the materials required for construct contract and documentation and tender, all these things. We'll share to them in turn. Thank you once again. Now I request participant to please, if anything is there, you can interact with the professor.
Arpita ma'am, you asked any code book for a civil engineer in regarding to contract. So yeah, book
any BIS codes are given guidelines.
So ma'am, yeah, book named contract book EC Law Series, Contract Law EC Law Series by Avatar Singh. You may refer that textbook, ma'am. It consists of all contract laws. What are all the problems faced by the both the parties, as well as owner side as well as contractor side, and how they can be rectified. These things have discussed in the contract law book, Contract Law by Avatar Singh. You can refer that textbook, ma'am.
Any other thing? And also you can, all the participants, you can fill the Google form shared by Mr. Sanat Kumar for attendance and certification. And if there is no queries, we will close the meeting. Any queries, let me know. Because this is a new topic, many are not having a queries to raise.
In chat box, some questions are there.
Okay, you just read questions.
In
Sanat Kumar?
digital construction era, contract in construction industry is needed to more in detail, sir. Is there any code book? Okay, that is what madam, which is okay. So they can make the madam only. She has written, I think. Arpita madam. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We must follow the Indian Contract Act, sir. For I also share one book, contract book by contract law by Avatar Singh. You can read out that book. It will have some general case studies with that.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions? You can ask now. You can unmute yourself and you can ask. Or you can raise your hand.
I think no more questions, Sanath.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Feedback is posted, sir, already.
Yeah. You just to fill the feedback for your anybody interested for certificate and others attendance purpose. We will take this input. Please do it. Sanath, tomorrow you want who is the speaker?
1 minute, sir. I'll share the slides.
Yeah. Just share the screen if this is just. So tomorrow the speaker is going to address all of us the green buildings and rating of green buildings. See, there is a star ratings are there. Even all the our major cities, tier 1, tier 2, especially the IT buildings and IT/BT buildings, everybody is behind in green building concept. See what is meant by green building? A highly experienced resource person tomorrow, Vijayaraj Shishodia, a consulting engineer, is going to address. He is also a member of Indian Green Building Council. I request all of you to log in at the right time, because we don't want to take the speaker's time, because speakers are allotted only 2 years. If the delegates are delayed in joining, then it will lose their time. And also he is the authority for rainwater harvesting systems, both at the farmland and residential buildings. He is highly experienced of 25 years of experience, and we requested him to deliver as a part of construction management course, because the rainwater harvesting is very, very important. Because without that, now the building license are not given in Bangalore 40/60 site, even 30/40 site also they're insisting for the new projects. Old projects, it was not there. It is a must. See, in Chennai, take an example, 10 years back, lot of water scarcity was there. Now the water scarcity has solved, but there is no news in the papers. When Madam Jayalalitha was there, see, she made compulsorily rainwater harvesting. If you don't have a rainwater harvesting, they'll stop the metro water. See, that is the rule she made in Chennai. Chennai's groundwater is improved. Finally, there is no issue. Such a drastic, hard rules are required to impose rules for the Bangalore city. See, sometimes summer we are facing a lot of issues. Therefore, these are one of the vertical we are going to educate all of you, the rainwater harvesting system for a city or a farmlands or buildings. So now I request, thank you all the participants for taking your time and participating to know something, knowledge about the contract documents and tender documentation. Thank you once again to Speaker of the Day and Mr. Sanath Kumar. He is the backbone of this online program coordinator. He is working as a professor of civil engineering at Nagarjuna College of Engineering Technology. He is an expert in what is called total station and GPS and remote sensing, GPS and total station. I think he is going to take next online classes at NCET. Thank you once again to all of you. We will meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you, Arpita, for joining.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.
Sir, I will end the meeting, sir.
Okay, no issue.